Hello everyone, it's Zach from PoeStack. Happy to announce today that PoeStack will be exiting beta and all of the code will be open source. Felt like a good time, along with the upcoming league, to make another one of these videos going through all the features and doing a bit of a tutorial as well. To start with, I'm just going to give a very brief intro to what the tool is for people who haven't seen it at all. The basic idea is that PoeStack tracks character data and stash and economic data for everyone. So character ladder, very similar to Poe Ninja, but we'll get into some of the smaller differences later. Character profile tracking over time, you can see we have snapshots, time machines, some progressions, some POB data, and then stash profile. This is kind of like excellence, but again with some more features that we'll get into in a minute, and then economic data as well. That wraps this all out. So we're going to go through each of these pieces in a moment and do kind of an overview and a tutorial. But first, since it's a big announcement, PoeStack is now totally open source. The front end has been open source for a while, but a few hours ago, I also open sourced all of the backend code. So if you go to github.com/PoeStack, PoeStack Next is the one that's been open source for a while and has had contributors already. PoeStack Apollo is the new one. You can view all of the code on how we do pricing calculations, what we do with your data, and how we do snapshotting, how we do economic overviews, what we're doing with Atlas passive tree data, everything. The other note here, this has also existed for a while, but there's PoeStack for public data, which is automatically updated constantly by the backend with the full economic data dump for each league that we track. So if you want to use our data in a easily ingestible format, you can do it here, or if you want to audit our data versus Poe Ninja or anyone else, feel free. Okay, cool. Let's get into some of the features. So let's start with characters. So this is the PoeStack character ladder. This probably looks pretty similar if you've looked at any other character ladders in Poe, but one thing you might notice if you're paying attention is that we're looking at standard and we have 31,000 characters. This is higher than the 15,000 character limit on the GGG ladder. So what this means is that PoeStack is not pulling this data from the GGG ladder, which has a couple of advantages. First and foremost, there's no limit to how many characters we can display. Everyone who uses PoeStack will show up on this ladder. You can have your characters on this ladder at any level, at any point in the league. If it's the last day of the league and you make a new character to test leveling, it'll show up on the ladder. There's no requirements. If you haven't been playing too long, the problem with the GGG's ladder is that it only tracks the top 15,000 players. So after the first week and a half, the ladder fills up and it won't change for the rest of the league, which makes it hard to evaluate meta shifts later in the league. We don't have this problem. Our ladder will keep updating and keep expanding to any number of players. As far as features of the ladder itself, you can see that we have the top uniques. So we're pulling in the most expensive 5 uniques for each build. This helps with determining when you're looking at a build what price range you're kind of looking at. The base cost uses the same data. We determine the price of all of the uniques and the clusters and the skill gems and price them up. So this is not the total cost, but it again gives you some idea. You can see the skill, the life, the ES, DPS calculate from POB and the level, and then the account name. If you are looking at an account that has a Twitch streamer associated with it, you'll also see a little Twitch badge here, so you can go right to their profile. If you want to look back at different points in history, you can click on the different dates, and it will load up different stash or different character snapshots. So you can easily scroll through and check out what builds were like at different points in time. If you want to filter, you can easily filter based on these or do exclusions. You can filter based on skills and items and whatever you want. If you want to search through the filters, you can go here. So maybe we only want Bone Shatter players. Cool. I guess I already had some. That's why we're not seeing those. Let's get those. Now we only have the Bone Shatter Ascendant, it looks like. Nice. Let's see. So the other main feature, let's just reset this for a second, is the custom ladders. So custom ladders are the idea that you might want a ladder that only includes your group of friends, but you're all playing in Standard or Sanctum or Crucible or any other league. So all you need to do, let's switch this to Sanctum for a second, is go to My Custom Ladders and create a group. I'll go into this one, which includes myself, one of my friends, and SteelMage. So let's remove myself so I can just show you how to add this. Just type in the PoE profile name of whoever you want in the group, press add, press save, and then press open ladder. You can see now we're looking at Sanctum, but there's only 28 characters being displayed. So these are all of my characters and all my friends' characters and any characters that SteelMage has inside of Sanctum, which is probably 0. But the idea here is that anyone in your friend group can create one of these and share the URL, and you can view everyone's progress as you guys go through the league together easily. So it creates some friendly competition. You could also do this for a guild or a group of players playing the same build. There's no like authentication or process to get accepted into a custom ladder. You can just add whoever you want. It doesn't affect them at all being in your ladder. Cool. These characters' ladders update automatically, constantly. They'll update throughout the league. Basically, it's constantly scanning for changes and automatically capturing new characters and taking snapshots. So let's take a look at some actual character profiles. So if you want to just see your own characters, you can just go to My Characters and view through your list along with your current passive tree. You can share this link with other people if you want to show them all of your characters or share your Atlas passive tree easily. The Atlas passive tree will also obviously update, so if you wanted to show here's a link to my current Atlas passive tree, this is an easy way to do that. So let's take a look at one of these characters. So this is the exact same interface you'll see if you click on a character from the ladder, but here's what you got. So on the left we have a bunch of attributes that are pulled from running this character through POB. We also have a copy POB code, so you can easily pull the POB for any character on the ladder or any of your own characters. In the middle we have the gear, the links, the gem breakdowns, some pricing information for certain things. We can see that apparently Armageddon brand is worth half a chaos, probably about right. This is one of my leveling characters that I was doing for league start testing, and on the right here we can see the passive tree at this time. You can zoom, pan, you can mouse over to see what nodes do. Makes it pretty easy to check out trees basically. Down at the bottom here we can see the progression over time, so we can see that the first snapshot of this character happened automatically at level 6, and it's taken a few snapshots every so often as I made it through the campaign. Through the time machine we can easily select the very first snapshot of this character. The POB code and all the POB stats are remembered, the skill tree is remembered, so you can always view this over time. Let's just step through my leveling and see what we did. So it looks like we grabbed Onslaught and some of the regular leveling gems, and then just kept moving through. You can see my gear's upgraded, I got my Ascendancy, my skill tree is filling out, stats are getting a little bit better, gear is getting more rares and magic items in it, and you can just keep going all the way to the end. So this is really nice for everyone, because having this level of tracking of your own characters is really cool to look back on and to look and see how your gear was changed over time. But it's also really nice for people who do build guides or streamers. If you track your characters, you can easily link people to these pages, and they can take a look at every single step that you took to get to where you currently are with your gear. Along with the skill trees, and the POBs are automatically saved. So if you were wondering what your gear was like a few days ago and you need it for your build guide, you can just go back and copy the POB. Cool. These snapshots happen automatically, basically. It detects them and it will take them without you having to do anything. I did not take any of these manually, but if you want to, you can always push the Take Snapshot button to take a snapshot at a specific time. This basically covers it for the characters part of PoeStack. So let's go over to the stashes and the economy section. So if we go over to the profiles here, we can just view a profile really fast to see what it looks like. Basically, you can set up automatic snapshots or you can take them manually, much like Excellence, and you can see the value over time graph. Here's some calculations where you can choose any 2 snapshots to calculate the difference in rate of change over the course of these snapshots. You can see the total time and how much money you're gaining or losing. Down here you have all the items that were in these tabs that were selected. You can do some filtering here. You can see that it's already sorted by value. You can expand these graphs to see how the values have been changing over time. You can do searches and min values. So a few exporters here. So if you want to export this to the form shop, CSV, or any some TFT formats below, you can use this. You also have breakdowns by tag, so you can see where value is, and here's the snapshots over time along with their change. Setting one of these up is pretty easy. We just go to the stash, create a new profile. I will choose standard because same doesn't exist anymore. I'll just say test profile. If you mouse over these options, it'll give you an explanation of what they are. Snapshot interval is just how often we want automatic snapshots to be taken. Valuation is where we want our value to come from, basically. So if we want to use a lower valuation compared to average, we can choose one of the lower below P10. If we want to price our items a little bit above average, we can use one of the higher p-values. P10 is a good default, though. And stock influence is if we want to take stock-based pricing into account. This is basically the idea that like if you're selling 100 scarabs, you can charge a little bit more than if you're selling only like 10. So if you choose smart influence, it will account for a number of items you're selling, basically. So then we can just select whatever tabs you want to index, go down to the bottom, and save the profile. You can go in here, there won't be any snapshots yet, but we can just press take snapshot. It will take the snapshot, pull in all the items, and you see all the features, same as before. If you want to send these to TFT directly, you can go to PoeStack.com/TFT bulk tool. There's a whole video on my channel that goes over how to use this, but basically you just select tabs, grab items, select a TFT format, enter an IGN, do the value settings that you want, and then press post, and a bot will automatically post it in TFT. Check out that video if you want more info on this part of the feature. The last major thing to go over is the economy page. So if you want to get more in-depth detail about what the valuations are of any of these items, you can quickly come over here and select a league and what you're looking for, basically, and then go in, and you can see here we have the different p-values and where their values are currently at. We can see for currencies, these are usually pretty evenly spaced out, but some items you'll see that the higher end is significantly higher than the grouping of the lower p-values, and this, depending on where these graphs are over time, it can give you some indication of where the value of items is moving over time. Down here you can see some quantity information about how many people are selling items versus how many total items are being sold. We have daily and hourly breakdowns, so if you want to see the last 2 days at a more hourly level or the last 2 weeks at a more higher level. You can also edit what you're actually looking at. So let's change it to just P10, and then let's add in some extra quantity brackets. So we can see the price at Divines is pretty standard, so pretty much everyone, no matter how many they have, is selling them for pretty much the same value. But this isn't true for some other things. So let's just take a look at, how about scarabs? And get rid of currency. Cool. Let's take a look at gilded divination scarabs. So let's do the same settings, basically, only look at the P10, but throw in 18 plus and 50 plus. So now we can see that there's a bit of a breakdown here. So we can see that if you have more of an item, you can sell it for a bit higher. Maybe we all don't want the P10. Let's take a look at the P15. There might be even more of a gap. Yep. So basically, if you play around with these graphs a little bit, you'll get a better understanding of how these values are being used, and that will help you better inform what choices you should be making when you set up your stashes for actually exporting and selling your items. Yeah, I think that's a pretty good overview of PoeStack's features as they stand today. There are some more, but they're mainly featured on the homepage and the frequently asked questions. If you get into it, you should read through all this and go through. The other major spot that you can check things out is if you press the Join Discord button. You can come in and talk to me directly, view all the patch notes of all the things you've added in the last few months, or ask any questions for the other users. There's a good number of people in there already who have had some good discussion, and a lot of the features they've recommended are the ones that have been added to the site. It's been great working on the app over the last few months. We've had a ton of positive reception, and a lot of people have been using it and experimenting and coming up with good ideas. So it's been great. I look forward to Crucible and all of the cool new features we'll add during this time. Thanks to everyone, especially the people who have contributed code directly on GitHub. The entire project is open source, so if you're interested in contributing, we would love to have you. Yeah, that's all I have for today. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day, and I hope you guys have a great start to your league.